The trail was empty, silent, except for the whisper of wind through dead leaves. The kind of silence that presses against your ears, making you aware of every breath, every heartbeat. Hazel Walker had walked this path 100 times before, but tonight felt different. The air was heavier, the shadows darker. Her fingers found the pendant around her neck. A small silver locket her mother had worn every day until the accident. Years had passed since the funeral, but Hazel still reached for it whenever the world felt uncertain. Tonight, everything felt uncertain. She should have turned back. Should have listened to the instinct screaming in the back of her mind. But Hazel had never been good at listening to fear. That's when she heard it. The crack of a branch behind her. The hand clamped over her mouth before she could scream. Rough, urgent. A voice hot against her ear. Don't scream. I'm not here to hurt you. Hazel's heart hammered against her ribs as the hand eased away. She spun around, and her breath caught. Liam, he looked like he'd been through hell. His shirt was torn, his knuckles raw and bleeding, but it was his eyes that stopped her cold. There was something in them she'd never seen before, fear. I don't have much time, he said, his voice cracking. Just listen. Don't ask questions. And whatever you do, don't tell anyone you saw me tonight. Before Hazel could respond, Liam pressed something into her palm. A piece of paper, folded and worn at the edges. When the time is right, you'll know what to do with it. Don't open it until then. His eyes held hers, pleading, desperate. Please, Hazel, I need you to trust me, just this once. And then he was gone. Disappeared into the darkness as suddenly as he'd appeared, leaving only the sound of his footsteps fading into the night. Hazel stood frozen, the paper clutched in her trembling hand. She waited, half expecting him to come back, to explain, to make this all feel like some twisted joke, but the darkness only deepened. The silence grew heavier, and Hazel was alone. Sleep didn't come that night. Hazel sat at her desk as the hours crawled by, staring at the note. Its edges were smudged where her fingers had gripped it, but she hadn't dared to unfold it. Not yet. When morning light finally crept through her window, she felt like she was watching her life from outside her own body. Her phone buzzed, shattering the silence. Her father's name flashed across the screen. Hazel. Andrew Walker's voice was strained, carrying the weight of bad news. I just thought you should know. Liam has gone missing. His parents are worried sick. They think he's gotten himself into some kind of trouble. Hazel's chest tightened. Her throat went dry. Have you heard from him? The leaf felt thick in her throat. Heavy. Wrong. No, she whispered. I haven't. She wasn't sure why she didn't mention last night. Maybe it was the desperation in Liam's voice. Maybe it was the warning in the note she still hadn't opened. Or maybe it was because, for the first time in her life, Hazel didn't know who to trust. That evening, Hazel finally opened the note. The paper felt fragile in her hands, as though it had aged years in just one night. The words were written in Liam's familiar handwriting, but they made her blood run cold. When it all falls apart, remember, trust no one. She read it again and again, but the words refused to make sense. A sound made her look up, a soft scrape against glass. Hazel moved to her window, her heart climbing into her throat. At first, she saw nothing. Just darkness pressing against the glass. Then she saw it. A handprint, fresh. The glass still wet where fingers had pressed ... from the outside. Her breath fogged the window as she stepped closer, her pulse thundering in her ears. And then, from the darkness beyond the glass, came a voice. Barely a whisper, but clear enough to freeze the blood in her veins. We know he came to you.